So you wrote down here, rapid DNA candy. What is that?
Yeah.
What is that in a person that say they've been through a lot of trauma? I'm thinking of different clients. What is it that makes them stand up for themselves?
And then on the other hand, you have somebody else who will let it crush them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what makes the difference? Change is simple, but it ain't easy.
You said that. Correct.
Change is simple, but it's not easy.
That was fun. This is one of the funner ones for me.
Really?
Yeah. Well, welcome everybody. And today I'm so happy to have Kandye Hill here with me to talk about Life Fit, which is her health and fitness solution to lifestyle-related health concerns. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to have Kandye talk more about who she is in regard to that.
Okay. Thank you. It's great to be here. Life Fit is about helping people in all the dimensions of health. A lot of times we just deal with fitness, and you have personal trainers or you have dietitians or nutritionists that deal just with nutrition. But health is multifaceted. And so I like to try to hit all those dimensions of health. So not only the exercise and nutrition, but also the mental component, because a lot of times we're not reaching our health and fitness goals because there's some block, and it has to do with our mental, emotional. And so I like to try to hit the whole gamut so we can really see progress and really see transformation. So I do medical exercise, I do medical massage, I do nutrition coaching, and I'm a holistic health coach. So I try to put all that together and deliver to people what exactly they're looking for.
I love that. That is so cool. It's right in line with my whole philosophy and style too of what I do.
Yes.
So what drove you to do this with people? How come you wanted to do this kind of work?
Well, I grew up in a household where my father seldom took us to the doctor because he always had a home remedy, a natural home remedy for us. And so I kind of grew up without a lot of medications and running to the doctor for everything. And so as I grew, I was just interested in health. As I had my own health concerns, I'd be like, okay, how do I fix this? And how do I do this without, maybe taking the drug medications? Is there something natural out there? And that kind of was my introduction to it. And then, I got into massage, and, that was, making people feel good in their body. And it was something really satisfying when I touched people and then they was like, they would just melt, that feels so good, and I like that response. I like bringing that joy and that relief of pain and discomfort to people. So that's kind of how I got started.
I love that. And some of your own health concerns, and you wanted to treat yourself the same way.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely. I was always, if I had a cold or a headache, what could I do for my headache instead of taking aspirin? And I would put my feet in hot water and then put a cold compress on my head, and I would just relax. And I realized I would get headaches after a long day when I didn't drink enough water. So I would be dehydrated, and then the headaches would set in. And so I would learn to lay down and rest and drink lots of water. And then when I wake up, my headache was gone. Right. So, going through life like that and find out what works for me, just was, my introduction.
So you started with massage.
Yes.
That was your beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you get to expand into some of these other areas?
Well, as I was doing massage. Well, it's funny. I went to school when I came to California from New York. I wanted to be a court reporter. And I was looking for a court reporting school out here in the Sacramento area. And at that time, there wasn't one. There was one down in Southern Cal, but there was nothing in Northern. And so the guy kind of talked me into doing personal training and massage. They had a dual program where you did both of them in a year and a half. And so that's what I did. I did personal training and massage. And when I got out of school, I went straight to personal training. And I worked in the various gyms around the area. And then I eventually got my massage license and then started doing massage and, I opened my own business and everything just kind of, built upon the other. I just kind of like, okay, so I can do personal training. I can do the fitness. I can do massage. What else there? And I want to really work with people who had medical conditions. So if you had a hip replacement or a frozen shoulder, after you finish your rehab and physical therapy, you still sometimes have those residual deficits left over and you still need an exercise program to help with that. And so that's what I kind of dove into. So I like that. So I'm always into things that are really going to help people where they are, not just for relaxation. I mean, relaxation is nice and that's important, prevention, but really going into if I have a certain condition, how can I use exercise and massage and nutrition to really deal with those conditions and challenges?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. How do you see yourself evolving in this work?
Oh man, I am, I'm always, you always have your continuing education that you have to, maintain. So I'm always doing that. But I would like to get more into the coaching aspect, the mental aspect, because as I've dealt with massage and medical exercise, I found that, people need the coaching. They need the lifestyle, trying to find out what's prohibiting them from moving forward and progressing. And sometimes you need that support. You can't as yourself see what's stopping you, but as you sit and talk with someone, they can kind of uncover and help you see what might be, some underlying issue that's, not letting you go forward. And so I would like to evolve into doing more coaching.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's close to what I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
That's really awesome. So you wrote down here, rapid DNA candy. What is that?
Yeah. So as a not a nutritionist, sorry. I'm just nutrition certified. I help people tweak their nutrition. Like a lot of times you don't know how much carbohydrate should I eat? How much protein should I be eating and fats? And like you go out to a restaurant and you don't know what you should be doing. So, I have little tips and tricks to teach people how to figure out what you should be eating when you don't have your mathematic calculator there to calculate all this stuff. You just use your hand, right? Your thumb is how much fat you should be getting and, that kind of stuff. But, a lot of times in our nutrition, we need support. And so the Rapid DNA Candy is like a nutritional supplement. And it's like a candy, like a lifesaver. It's a hard candy and you just suck on it. But it goes right through your mucosal membranes right into your cells. So it bypasses the digestion. So we call it rapid because of that reason. It's very quick acting and it's the DNA from plants. So they don't take the plant material and, kind of grind it up and put it in a pill. They take the DNA from the plant and they inject it into this hard candy and you just suck it. And, plant DNA is very similar to our DNA. So our body recognizes it. It gives our body just what it needs. And it's just easier than taking powders, potions, and pills. A lot of people can't swallow pills or they have a hard time. And so the candy they can just suck on and it's just so much easier and it tastes so good because it tastes like candy. It's sweetened with molasses. And beet sugar. So it's, all natural, organic, and it's just a new way, high tech, I call it high tech candy. It's just a new way to take your nutrition in just to help support the body and what you're trying to accomplish.
Oh, I'm very interested in that. I'll be buying something from
you.
Yeah. So this podcast is about empowering people. And already you've been talking about that, which I love. And so how do you feel? Do you have more to say about empowering like your people, your clients?
Yeah. We all have to find our voice, right? And on our journey through life, it's about finding your voice. And so I like to empower my clients by helping them find out what do they want. A lot of people will make fitness programs, nutrition programs, and they'll, sell them to people. but what is it that they want? Right. And so I want to tap into that and help my clients find out and get clarity on what they want. And then let's work together to find a plan to how to get what you want. Because when they get what they want, then they feel more fulfilled. Yeah. And when they feel fulfilled, then I feel fulfilled. Right.
Aw, sweet.
That's my job.
I love that. I love that. What, so you've talked about that a little, how you do empower them. Mm-hmm. Are there other kinds of things that you do? Like you're doing, I mean, massage is an empowerment because it helps them relax and stuff, and all the coaching that you do. Right. So you have another thing to say about empowering, what other things you do to help people?
Empowerment can be looked at differently or defined differently by different people. So what empowerment means to one person may be a little different than empowerment for another person. Mm-hmm. And so for empowerment for me is being very individualized, right? Mm-hmm. Like I said, finding out what they want. So, sometimes people don't even know what they want. Mm-hmm. And so talking to them again, getting that clarity on what it is they want and why do they want it. But, using the massage, for relaxation or prevention, using medical exercise to get their body back. Because sometimes when your body's stronger, when you feel strong in your body, you feel empowered, right? Yes. Yes. And again, in your mind, sometimes when your mind is strong and you can do the things you want to do with your mind, you feel empowered. So using the skills that I have of nutrition, massage, and exercise to find out where they want to feel empowered, where they need to feel empowered, and help them tap into that. Mm-hmm. And so, for everybody, it's going to be different, and it's a different, for lack of a better word, prescription, as it were, for that person. But that's where the fun comes in. The challenge comes in is developing a specific prescription for them. Mm-hmm. And helping them feel empowered, whatever that looks like for them.
That's lovely. Yeah. That is really lovely. What do you think? What do you want people to know about you other than what you've said already?
I have to tell you the story.
Oh, good.
So I worked with in a big gym one time, and I talked to this lady on the phone, and we made an appointment. We're going to just do a basic, exercise program and getting her adjusted. And when she came in, she said, "Oh, thank God." And I looked at her questioning, what? She goes, "Your name was Kandye and you talk real nice. And I thought you were this 20-year-old Barbie, this Barbie looking, teenager." And she goes, "And you look like me." And we both busted and laughing, because we were middle-aged. And, there are things as you grow older, you may put on weight and you want to lose some weight, or you may start having health challenges and you want to deal with those. Mm-hmm. Right. And when she saw me, she was relieved because she knew I would understand. Yeah. Because I was in her same age group. I looked like her, and she was scared that she was going to get this young, skinny, little chick that was going to really work her hard and wouldn't really understand who she was. Yep. And that's what I want people to know. I am you. You know what I mean? I have the same challenges. I work on my health. I work on my nutrition. I'm struggling in some areas. I do better in some areas. I'm trying to get clear on things in my life. And, so I'm not the expert, as it were. I am a professional, but I'm not necessarily an expert, meaning that I have it all figured out and I can just tell you what to do, because that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to tell people what to do, because you're the expert of your life. Exactly. You know your life and yourself better than I do. So, that's what I want people to know, that, hey, I'm like you.
I love it. And your gift is because you've had your own challenges and you've worked on it. And then you get to share it with people. Yes. Yes. Who we are we are the gift of who we are. Mm-hmm. So I love that. I love that. Yeah. So tell us about medical exercise. What do you mean?
So medical exercise is after you've seen the chiropractic, after you've gone through physical therapy and been discharged, or occupational therapy. Like I said, a lot of times the insurance nowadays are not paying for as many visits as they used to in the past. So you're maybe discharged from them, but you still have residual deficits as far as your function, what you can do left over. And that's where I would come in. So as a medical exercise specialist, I deal with people who have medical conditions.
Okay.
So I've been taught. So it's a step higher than a personal trainer. So a personal trainer works with people who are relatively in good health, right? Medical exercise works with people who have conditions. So like I said, a hip replacement that they've had, a frozen shoulder or whatever, knee, a meniscal tear in the knee and that kind of thing. So I specifically work with them after they're discharged from their regular therapy, and they would see me and I would continue on with an exercise program for them for that.
That's
so
really
I use
great.
water, like water aerobics, stretching, regular strengthening exercise, cardio exercise, almost any modality of movement to help get them back 100% or at least as much as we can get back.
That's awesome. I'm thinking of different people that I probably need to refer to you as you're talking. I'm making a list in my head right now. So, and your coaching philosophy, you've talked about that some. Is there anything more you want to add to that? Because you said it's about the individual.
Yeah. So, there's different philosophies and there's no, to me, right or wrong. But I think what I found is the one that works best is one that is client-centered. So it's about the client, what they want, what they're looking for, what they're trying to accomplish, instead of me saying, I think you need to do this. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm not the expert of their life. And so we work together. It's a collaborative relationship. Right. And so as we work together, I think the results are better.
So what kind of results are you finding or are you looking for?
Those are the results that when we sit down with the client, what are they looking for? Are they looking to lose weight? They're looking to be more productive. They're looking how to eat better, whatever their goal is. The results I'm looking for is moving a little step closer in that direction, right? Sometimes we just want to hurry and get to the end destination, but change is simple, but it ain't easy.
You said that. Correct.
Change is simple, but it's not easy. And so we just want to take them one step at a time. And if they get closer to their goal, that's progress. And that's what we're looking for.
That's all. How long does this usually last? For people, is there a estimate?
Well, it just depends on what a person's looking for. So if it's a medical exercise and they have maybe a frozen shoulder and we're trying to get more range of motion, maybe in their arm or something, it could take, 4 weeks on, it just depends on what we're looking for. And once they reach their goals, they can determine now you don't need medical exercise, but maybe you just need a basic conditioning or fitness program. So you can now transition into just doing, your fitness.
Okay.
So it just depends on what it is.
So you were talking about the Kandye and that it goes into your system easily because it's the mucosal membranes.
Yes.
And so what does it do actually? It sounds really cool.
So it's a supplement. So we have like 19 different drops and they address different things. We have one called RLX, which stands for relax. So it helps people some people take it, like I usually take it before bed because I'm a light sleeper. And so when I take the RLX, it makes me sleep really deep and I feel better rested, right? Some people who are anxious, have anxiety type disorders, they find that it helps them just, calm down a little, just be on an even keel. And so it affects everybody differently. But, each drop has area of focus. So there's some for like energy, you know, there's some for weight loss to help with your appetite. And, you know, there's ones just to help with concentration. My mother had a stroke a couple of years ago, and I put her on one of the drops, and she had aphasia. So she could move her arms and legs, but aphasia, she knew what she wanted to say, but she couldn't say it correctly.
Right. And so for people who don't know, can you describe aphasia?
Yeah, aphasia is like, okay, I'm going to give you an example. My mother said she wanted some split poop and quarters. I said, what? What? Say that again? She said, split poop and quarters. And I said, do you mean split pea soup and crackers? She goes, yes.
Okay.
So
perfect.
aphasia is when you cannot, and there's expressive aphasia when you can't express what you want, and then there's aphasia when you can't understand what people are saying to you. So she couldn't express correctly what she wanted. She knew in her mind what she wanted to say, but it would come out wrong. And so I gave her one of the drops, and her speech got a little clearer. She was more, you could understand her better. It was more clearer. And that was one for the brain. It helps you with focus and concentration and that stuff. And she just got a little clearer, and I could tell the difference. And then we have one for allergies, like people who suffer from allergies. And I think it's her medication more so than allergies, but one eye always drips and one nostril always just drips. And when I give her that drop, it's substantially less.
Okay.
So she doesn't leak as much in the eyes and in the nostrils. So, you know, each drop does something different, but because it's plant DNA, like I said, it's very similar to our DNA. So the body recognizes it and it uses it right away. And what it doesn't use, you know, it just discards. But it's beautiful because even kids can take it. And one parent had her kid get into a box and ate the whole box of candies. 30 lozenges in each box, and they ate the whole box and nothing happened.
Oh, fantastic.
But yeah. So it's really safe. It doesn't affect there's no contraindication with medications that you may be on and that kind of stuff. So, you know, it just assists the body, just like a normal supplement would assist the body to help reach your goals. So yeah, but those are some experiences.
That's really great. Those are great. I mean, because it sounds food-based. It sounds like it's food.
It's all,
so it's not going to interfere with medicines or other kind of stuff. That makes total sense.
Right.
So where do you work? Where do you start? Where do you do all this work?
That's a great question. Right now, I work from home. So I'm doing things virtually because I'm still caring for my mom. And so I do things virtually, whether it's an exercise program. I can't do the massage virtually, but massage right now, I'm doing events. So if you have, like, you're having a wedding shower or a bridal shower or some kind of event and you want somebody there with a chair massage, I do events. But as far as the coaching and the medical exercise, I do it virtually over Zoom. So that way people can still see me and get access to me. But I had a physical location before, you know, this COVID stuff, but don't have that anymore. So I'm just doing it virtual.
Okay. That sounds great, though. Do you have personal goals?
Personal goals?
Well, you've got your business.
Yes.
And you have other kinds of goals for yourself?
Yes. I always have goals. I'm always trying to do something.
Oh, cool.
But some of my health goals is I want to do it's this thing called rope flow. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's it's almost like a long jump rope, but it's a thick rope and you move it. I told you I like movement, right? And you use the rope and you flow with it and you just do different things. And it looks almost like a dance and it's very graceful, but it works on mobility because your arms are high over your head, then they're low. You can squat and it's just this beautiful, graceful thing. And I really want to get into doing more rope flow.
Wow. And then once you do it, you can lead people.
Yeah.
You can do a class or something.
Yeah.
Whoa. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it's a nice concept. I have the rope. I've started practicing, but sometimes I feel like with the rope, I feel dyslexic. So I'm working on it though.
Okay, well, let us know when you're ready.
All right.
Okay, we'll call you up. And so what about other self-care that you do for you?
You know, my husband always asks me, he said, can I give you a massage? And I was like, oh yeah. And so I'm telling him, no, right here. No, put your elbow right there. And he's like, oh my goodness, you know,
dear.
But yeah.
Can't I just do it my way?
Right.
No, I know what I need.
But for me, I like quiet time. So, and I love music. I'm a music person. I sing. And so sometimes I like to just go out in nature, go somewhere, put on some music and just dance and sing to my little heart's content.
That is so sweet.
And that's so, what is it? The word rejuvenating for me.
Yes. So what kind of things do you sing?
I like all music. But I grew up singing in church. So I know a lot of, Christian music. I used to sing in a musical group that was Christian based. And, but I just, any kind of music I'm singing, I find song and I'm like, oh, I like that song. It just, it just kind of vibes with my spirit and,
I love that.
and then I just save it and, just go from there. But yeah.
Okay. So, well, one of my little goals or just ideas has been to get a group of people together to do singing.
Yeah. Keep me in mind. I love to sing. Anything.
Awesome. Are you alto, soprano?
Soprano.
Ooh, good, because I'm not.
I wish I could sing alto. I can never, when I hear somebody sing soprano and I'm trying to sing alto, it goes out the window.
It's not working. Yeah, I know. I can't get up there. Like D above the C above middle C. Yeah, it's not working very well. Wow, that's exciting to hear. And what part do you like best about what you do in your work? What's the most fun for you?
I think the most fun is seeing when a person has progress and they're so proud of themselves. When they like, man, I actually did it this time. And, they're so proud of themselves. I'm just like, yes, that gives me such joy and a feeling of accomplishment. Like I've helped someone do something that they wanted to do. And that just feels great.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So you talked about different dimensions. You've talked about the emotional a little bit. Do you get into the emotional with people? Or the mental part?
Sometimes when people are having a massage, they'll have an emotional release. We hold emotions in our bodies, in our muscles. And so you start to touch and they'll just start crying. And that release some emotion. And what I usually do is just give them an opportunity to be by themselves and, ask them, do they want to talk about it? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, because that's a very personal, intimate thing that happens. And so I have to give them that liberty to either want to share or not want to share. And so, yeah, it's emotional releases are common during massage. Sometimes when you are talking to people, they're just talking about something, when you try to get down to their goals and the why of it, and you keep asking them, well, why is that important? And why is that important? And sometimes you get down to the very bottom and then they have this release and it's, they're crying, they're showing this emotion and they're like, wow, I didn't know that was there. Yeah. I didn't know I had that. I didn't know I felt like that. And that's, that's good because they need to be aware, because once you're aware of something, then it's easier to deal with, right?
Totally.
But you have to know that it's there. So
yes, that's awesome, Kandye.
I'm looking at all these weights over here. You got 12 pounds. What do you do with 12-pound weights?
I'm working back up to it. I used to do 12, no problem. Then I lost muscle mass. And so I'm building it back up. I'm working on 8s now, and so I work with a functional medicine guy. And so he's got me doing creatine and the betaine. And enough protein and upping the weights. So I do a HIIT, a HIIT workout.
Yes, okay.
From this doctor that figured out how women's bodies are. And I've been following his program for years, and it's like a 12-week thing, but you do one set for a week and then you switch. But I just do one after another now. But he does a lot of arm things, a lot of push-ups, a lot of static lunges while you're working your arms.
Yes.
So I'm wanting to work back up to the 12 because it used to be easy. And I'm like, what?
Well, you know, they say you lose half a pound of muscle every year if you don't do anything to stop it. So, you know, for people who are not using any, whether it's body weight or external weight, when they're not using anything, as we grow older, we're just losing muscle mass. And that's why people find all of a sudden that they can't do what they used to do. And they're like, well, when did that happen? Especially with balance. As we grow older, the balance is one of those things that goes so quickly and people don't realize it. And they say, I remember I used to be able to stand on one leg and put on my socks. And now I can't.
That's right.
Now I can't do that.
Yeah,
and I was like, balance. If you don't practice balance, you will lose it and not realize it. It's something that you have to practice.
Totally. Yeah. It's tough. I mean,
it is.
Yeah. I mean, I work with these things. The HIIT workout like every other day. It's 15 minutes with a 2-minute warm up. And then I do a walk to cool down. And then I do on the opposite days, then I do like a long walk or something.
Yeah.
But I want to, I'm working it. I mean, I can notice a difference because I was only doing 5 pounds and now I'm doing the 8s. And
good.
Sometimes it's like yesterday I did it and my shoulders are like, oh, why are you doing this? Please.
I got to buy some weights. And that was 8 pounds. I was going to buy 8 and 15 pounds and see how those, but you know what I use?
What?
I use a rebounder.
Oh, those are good.
Rebounders. This is the man's name. I think it was Al Carter. He wrote a book and he said the astronauts, when they go to space, they lose a lot of bone mass because they're in a non-gravity environment. And so when they came back to Earth, they were trying to figure out the best way to help them gain back their bone mass quickly. And they found that a rebounder, because when you go up in the air and then you come down on the mat, it has a sense of weightlessness, and it's twice the G-force, the gravitational force when you come down on the mat.
Really?
And so they found that the rebounder is one of the quickest ways to get, and see, I was diagnosed as having osteopenia, which is right before you get osteoporosis. So my bones were weak. And so I said, okay, let me get a rebounder. And I love movement. So bouncing, it's like you're a kid again. You're just bouncing, right? You're just having fun on the trampoline.
Right.
And so I do that. And then I do the small hand weights. I start with 1 pound, no more than 5, because it's too much when you come down because it's twice. So 5 pounds is like 10 pounds.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So that's too much weight. So I start with 1 pound and I just do arm exercises, while I'm bouncing gently on the rebounder. And I find that I like that. And it's I don't have to go to the gym. I can, go pull my rebounder either outside on the back or leave it inside in the winter. And I can do it year round. But yeah, I love rebounding.
Okay, that's a good thing, because I was diagnosed with a little bit of osteoporosis in a wrist or something. And then doing all those things, walking, jumping in this exercise program I do, there's a lot of jumping, things like that. But with that rebound, that's a great
because and that's what they found. It's easier on the joints because you're not hitting a hard surface, but yet and the mat helps push you back up so you can come down again. So yeah, there's several different. I also have a certification in that.
Oh, good grief!
I know.
How many certifications do you have?
So I was aqua certified, and so I used to teach water aerobics, and I love water aerobics because for people who can't do things on land and people who have multiple sclerosis, when they get in the water, that weightlessness, because the water upholds them, they can do more. And so it's just nice. So I love water. I love water aerobics. And for some people, that's, why, if they can do nothing on land but walk, then they should walk. But if they can get in the water and do, because you can use this water weights, and there's all kind of ways to make that resistance more. So you have to really work and you use your muscles. So
those are great. Those are great because I have a lot of clients that I go through what you go through, like How are you dealing with your brain, your mind? How are you dealing with your feelings? What are you doing with your body? And a lot of people are like, well, I'm not really doing. So what do you love to do? Well, I don't know. Or even in their spirituality, what do you like? Well, do you go to church? No. Do you like it? Yeah. Why aren't you going? Whatever. Or is it nature or whatever it is?
Right.
People think that they get busy in their lives and that they just they feel like they don't have time.
Right.
Which is not. What would you tell people that have that attitude?
You have to make time for you. Because see, what happens is we're taking care of everybody else, our children, our husbands, our wives, and we're doing for everybody else, our jobs, and then there's nothing left for us, and then we end up feeling empty. Yeah. Right. And then when we feel empty, we may get depressed or say, I don't like my job and I don't like this. And when it's really, you just need to be filled back up. Yes. You need to take care of you, because if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of anybody else. You're not going to be any good to anybody else. No one else is going to want you around.
Exactly.
And so, I try to, while life is busy and there's a lot we have to do, you have to find something that brings you joy and make time to do it. Whatever that is for you, I like to sing, I like to move, I like to see good movies. And sometimes I just say, I'm going to see a movie. And even if I go by myself, I'm like, I'm going to see it. I don't care if nobody comes with me. I'm going to go see it. And, I love it. And I go do it because it's for me. And I deserve that.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. The joy idea. Yes. That's an idea, and I lead meditations and it comes up like this morning. I led one and it's always that's a piece of it. And, I feel pretty giggly a lot. And so wherever I am, if I'm passing somebody with their dog and at the river where I walk and oh, your dog is so, and I make jokes and stuff. And if they're into it, that's fine. If they look at me like, you're weird, I'm like, okay, well, moving on now.
Yes.
But that's partly how I do joy is by being silly and making weird comments to people. And if they want to play with me, then cool. Yeah. If they don't, that's fine. Yeah. But I hear you. Joy. People love nature in general. People that do other kinds of spiritual activities, it seems like nature is the commonality for everybody. Like going to a lake and just sitting there with the trees. And they feel so calm and so good.
You brought something up to my mind. In nature, there's what we call negative ions.
Yes.
Right? And those negative ions bring that peace and that relaxation. And that DNA candy, they found a way to infuse negative ions.
Really?
And that's why, again, I call it high tech, because they infuse those negative ions into the candy. So you're getting, this plant-based organic herbs, fruits and herb nutrition supplement, but it has the negative ions in it.
I got to get some of this stuff.
Yeah.
You got some on hand?
You know what? I meant to bring you a sample and I walked out the door and I forgot.
Well,
I was like,
I'll find
I'm going to
you.
see Ann. I'm going to see Ann again. I'll give it to her.
I'll find you. Don't worry about that. Yeah, that's true. And they talk about that with the ocean, loaded with the negative ions and how you just...
That's why people love it there.
Right?
It's so relaxing. And I have a girlfriend. That's when she wants to relax, she wants to go sit by the water.
Even if you're not in the present, because one thing I do in my work is EMDR, eye movement desensitization and restructuring. It's bilateral stimulation of the body. Okay. And it helps to change the mind, to change the feelings, blah, blah, blah. And even if people aren't at the ocean, so we look for where do you love it? And a lot of people will say the ocean. They'll say, can you imagine yourself over there? And the thing is bouncing back and forth. And they can just go, oh. And they can just start to relax, even so. So I don't know if
just thinking about it,
they're pulling the negative ions or they're just imagining and it's happening.
But that's the power of thought.
Yes.
You can so if you think on positive things and beautiful things and things that bring you joy, it will affect you positively, right? But if you think on things that are negative and not so nice, it can also affect you, right?
Big time.
So, as you know, your thoughts are very, very powerful, and we need to tap into that power.
Yes,
in a
ma'am.
positive way.
Yes, ma'am. And I like you're using the word power because this podcast is about empowering.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one aspect. And it's not just the joy, the thought of the ocean, but it's the feeling.
Yeah.
It's like, where do you feel it? And it's your body. And you work with the body like all the time, which is fabulous. Because when I'm sitting with people and I'll say, okay, where do you feel that in your body? And they go, I don't know. And then some people will say, nobody's ever asked me that before. And I'm like, what? Really? And so we work it, okay, just notice, put your attention to your chest. Do you have any sensations at all? This comes from my old nursing background, the different ideas. Okay, is it tight? And then they don't know. And okay, I give them ideas. Is it tight? Is it relaxed? Is it fluttery? And then they can kind of zero in on something. And then they might get into it and like, oh yeah, and my stomach doesn't feel right. Okay, well, let's look at that. So you start real slow.
Yeah. And it's amazing how sometimes we lose touch with our own bodies.
Yes.
I had so many people come in for a massage and I was like, well, how are you feeling today? They said, oh, I'm good. I'm good. And then I start massaging and I'm like, oh, that hurts right there. I didn't know that hurt. And they don't really, they're not aware until I start touching that area, how they really feel. And so it's amazing, how that happens.
What a service. This is a great service you do.
Thank you.
Because you're right. So many people are in their heads like all the time. And it's due to stress. It's due to trauma. It's due to the world being scary. Some kind of scary thing, usually.
Yeah.
Somewhere in life, maybe when you were 1 year old and it's still there. But what you do is so important.
Yeah.
To help people.
Yes. And I love that. I love helping people be better in their bodies, better in their minds, better in their life. That's why I call it life fit. It's not just about body fit or this, but your whole life.
I love
everything
that.
is interconnected. Nothing's isolated, right?
Exactly.
So,
see, you're speaking my language, and I'm just going to do a little plug for my book.
There you go.
Because this is about body, mind, emotion, and spirit, and my journey.
Okay.
A Touch of Light, and it's on Amazon.
Okay.
By the way.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But it is that, and I remember thinking when I was in my 20s that that's what you're saying is just where it's at. We're not like separated. There's a lot of separation idea going on in this world. Oh, and we're isolating, and then that doesn't include the rest of us. So it doesn't create health.
Right. What is it? There's a saying about the weakest link.
Oh yeah.
You're only strong as the weakest link, and that pertains to your health as well.
Yes.
So
health in every direction. So spiritually, do you work with people in that direction too? Do you just engage with them and inquire?
If they are open to it, most people spiritually are very, what's the word? They're kind of set in their belief system, whatever that is. And so sometimes people are open, and if they're open, yes, we will explore that. But if they're not, I don't push, I try not to push anyone anywhere that they don't want to go.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. But if they're open and they want to explore, if they have questions for me, like how I may deal with something, then I definitely will share, and be open, because, I feel, I don't know, just being open. I'd rather people be open with me and tell me straight to my face, Kandye, I didn't like that, right? Than for them not to say anything, keep it in, and then later, well, I don't want to talk to Kandye, or I don't want to do this because they were offended by something I did or said. Yeah. Because that's how I am. I'm an open person. I'm going to tell you. I'm saying, yeah, I don't think I like that.
Okay, tell me again. Which was that now?
That's just who I am. I'm upfront. I'm honest. And I like people who are that way with me, because then I know where I stand and I know what I've done and how I need to adjust myself. But if people don't say anything, then I don't know. And if I don't know, I may do it again, not realizing it, right? So I much prefer people to be open and honest with me. And so I'm open and honest with them. And I try to be tactful, because I can be very sometimes just
straightforward,
curt, and you know, and it can come across as offensive to people. And I'm not trying to be, but that's just who I am. So I have to check myself a lot of times, you know, to make sure, Kandye, be nice. Be nice, Kandye. You know, while I say it. And, you know, sometimes it's hard dealing with confrontation or criticisms.
Yep.
People may criticize, and you have to learn how to take the criticism, but not take it personally, where you imbibe that. And then now it affects who you are, who you see yourself as, you know what
Exactly.
I'm saying?
Exactly.
So learn, you know, those are all skills. And those are skills we have to learn, right? And so I'm still learning. And sometimes I do better than other times. Sometimes I make an A. Sometimes I make an F.
Whatever.
and I'm learning. So
yeah.
you know, and I try to be patient with people. Like I want them to be patient with me. So that's my one golden rule, you know, it comes from the Bible, you know, treat others the way you want to be treated, right? And so I always try to remember that, Kandye, how would you want to be treated if you were in their position? And then treat them that way. And sometimes that still doesn't work, because, you know, that's not the way they need to be treated, right? So I have to learn the person, how they need it, what they need, how they need it, and try to deliver it in that manner.
I love it.
It's all about growth, personal growth. I love it. Self-development. I love it. I love it.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, you just named a whole bunch of stuff that could be opened up into different areas, like the criticism. And that's really tough. I do a women's group, and that comes up in this group often. People are really scared to offend. They don't want the criticism. And the whole feeling of, you know, do I like myself enough to be myself, which you've talked about here a little bit already. And that's tough. And then we trace it back. Okay, how come you're having trouble with you? And it's usually trauma, some kind of trauma, often family stuff.
Yes.
Or some experiences that they've had. I mean, people have had to leave countries because it was dangerous and blah, blah, blah. So the criticism is so common, the fear of that criticism.
Because people are afraid that if I say something, they won't like me.
Right.
Or I may lose my job, or, you know, and everybody wants to be liked. We all want to be liked. We all want to have friends. And it's very difficult sometimes to share how we really feel with somebody, because we're scared we're going to lose them, especially if they're a friend, right? Yeah. But I'm saying, for me, a true friend is going to be somebody who tells me when I'm wrong, when I hurt them, so I can correct myself. They're not going to just let me go on and keep doing that. And so that's what I try to get across to people. You know, I need you to tell me, because I'm not perfect. I need you to share with me what I did, so that I know, because I'm going to share with you, you know, so you know. And it's hard, though.
And you do have to tell people and give them permission, because people will hold back and they won't know.
Right.
Is it okay? How's she going to react? And I'm like you. You know, just spit it out. I can handle it. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of talk and writing about that. How do we deal with criticism? And I like Brene Brown, because she's written a bunch of books about psychology and blah, blah, blah. And she talks about her own stuff, you know, and how she put herself out there, and she got a lot of negative comments back. And at first it was like, ouch. And then she realized, this is not about me. They're not talking about me. They're talking about themselves. And there was this great example the other day. I was watching Britain's Got Talent, or I don't know, one of those. Okay. And this young lady, like 16 years old, I think, in the Midwest. And she was on YouTube, writes songs, sings them, plays guitar, getting a lot of negative comments, just terrible comments. So she decided to make a song about it. And she reframed, she transformed the whole thing. And the audience loved it because she wasn't making it like crushing on her. She's just like, she turned it into a win for herself. It was so cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And sometimes that's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to see how to do that. And so that's great that she did that. You know, I admire people who keep pressing on no matter, you know, what the negative, you know, feedback is that they get, but they keep pressing forward until they finally, you know, accomplish what they want to do. And that's encouraging.
It's amazing too. It's what you're saying is like, what is that in a person that say they've been through a lot of trauma? I'm thinking of different clients. They've been through incredible trauma, crazy stuff. And what is it that makes them stand up for themselves? And, you know, different clients, they have had to create lawsuits to confront organizations that screwed them over in different ways, and they would win. And what is it? Because their childhood was so horrible. I won't go into it, but like crazy. What is that part of a person that's like, I'm going, you know, you can't crush me.
Right. And then on the other hand, you have somebody else who will let it crush them. Like, what makes the difference?
Yes.
What makes this person stand up and fight until they win, and this person lay down and almost give up on life? And, you know, I don't know what that is, but that dilemma, that whatever it is what's interesting to me. I'm fascinated by, you know, what makes one person do this and another person do that. Right. Yes. So the psyche of the mind and all that. And we're so complex. And, you know, as people, our minds are so complex, and the circumstances, our journeys are so different. You know, you could have twins that grew up in the same house, the same mother, father, and be so different.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's like, what? You know, but totally different personalities, how they face life. Just, you know, it's just really interesting.
Yes, it is. It makes me think of some clients that I have. Some of these guys are like young men, maybe diagnosed bipolar and stuff. And how the body comes into this. This is your work. How the body affects the mind, affects the mental health.
Yes.
the health of the body, the microbiome, everything. And what we've inherited from our parents and their parents and what's passed down to us. I know I've inherited like from my mother's mother and maybe beyond. We don't really know. The digestive issues, because my grandma probably died of metabolic syndrome. And my sister and I, and my brother to an extent, I think, have been dealing with our digestion. And there's emotional components in there also.
Yes.
So it's like you're saying, it's all intertwined.
That genetics. And then, you know, the big thing now is epigenetics.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How those genes are expressed.
Yes.
And what makes them express themselves one way or the other. All that is fascinating, you know, all this new research. And but it opens up to us that even though we may have come from a family who had issues with anger or alcohol or whatever it is, we don't have to be alcoholics or you know, succumb to our anger. You know, our genes can be expressed in a different way if we're in a different environment. Yes. Right. So environment has a lot to play with it. So it's just all fascinating to me. It is
great. Amazing. It is amazing. Well, I just love talking to you, Kandye. This is so much fun. I feel like we could just talk for another 3 hours.
We could. Me and you could.
Okay. Well, hope you guys have time out there because we're ready. Yeah, this has been just a total delight. And we're going to have all Kandye's information on the podcast so you can get a hold of her. Do it. I mean, if you're working virtual, you could work with people all over the place, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. And we'll have her picture up there so you get to see what she looks like. So what a treat. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yay. All right.
All right.
Awesome.
That was fun. This is one of the funner ones for me.
Really?
Yeah.